Hi, everybody.
Hey guys, sorry we're late.
We're
Lane's fault.
just
Just kidding. My fault.
testing some new tech, so things didn't go as smoothly as we'd hoped, but we're live for episode 25 of Business Can Be Better.
Now they know it's your fault because I don't know how to test tech.
Right. So we needed more time to do so and different devices and adapters than what we had. So we're doing things a little bit differently. We got our mics this time. We didn't have last week.
Yes,
Got
and
our
they're
mics
mounted
back.
on the walls. Very cool.
But we're not using the cam because we couldn't get our good camera set up. So laptop cam today.
Worst angle ever. So we just put it right at the wrong level just to make us look as wide as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we're live. We're here. A few minutes late.
We're here. We're sorry.
But we're here to talk about the future of retail.
I'm very excited.
Something that's probably on your mind a lot as you've recently invested into a retail business and that's become part of your world.
Yeah.
So it's a subject I don't know anything about because I don't own a retail store, never have, don't really have any retail clients that we market for. It's a bit of a foreign world to me. So my perspective will be one of the consumer. That's what I can offer. It's like
that's a good idea.
I shop at retail stores.
That's great.
So
Okay.
I will offer that perspective
And
as
you're a
far as
millennial,
and I'm a
which is
millennial.
1/3 of the whole world. So
Yeah.
okay.
So that'll be my perspective as the consumer.
Okay. I
Tell
think
us.
that you'll probably come up with some really important things to say. As
Okay.
we go, but-
I have thought about it, but
Okay.
I don't have any practical application of it
Okay.
under my belt yet.
Well, I have a bunch of notes, so don't worry. So I don't know if you said you did read my Monday email, but if
I
anybody
did.
that's listening reads my Monday emails, this Monday I did talk about the future of retail. Like you said, I did invest in a company that is partially retail. So we sell shoes. We also have services though, so it's not just retail, but still a large component is retail. And I feel like there are so many people out there, especially in Lethbridge, because I feel like we're fairly behind the trends,
Sure.
like late to jump on bandwagons in terms of technological advances. But so I think that it's really important that we talk about what's coming, what's actually already here, but maybe not in Lethbridge yet. But
Okay.
you know how things are changing with all the people shopping online rather than coming into retail stores and shopping. And I read a really great book, Re-Engineering Retail by Doug Stevens, that I highly recommend if you're in retail. Recommend you read that. I'm going to talk about it a lot today. But I'm just going to start with some statistics that are kind of scary if you own a retail store. But I want you to know...
Scare factor.
I
Start
was
with
scared too when I started digging into this. And I was one person who had for years kind of avoided really digging in to how much consumer behavior has changed with the internet.
that. Right.
But now that I'm deep into it, I'll let you know there's a happy ending. So stick with
Okay.
us till the end. So as of today, the stats, 25% of people are shopping online. That doesn't seem
Okay.
like that many. A quarter
Doesn't.
of people. 12.4% of all goods are bought online. Doesn't
Okay.
seem like that high, right? But these two stats are increasing rapidly every year. Also, online reviews are super important. We're going to talk about that a lot today. 91% of millennials, this is our generation,
How many?
91%
91. Okay.
trust online reviews as much as their friends and family.
Right.
83% of customers don't trust advertising. So, I mean, I've harped on Google reviews for years, and I think I probably always will if they stay as effective as they are. But when you put those two stats together, like 91% of 30% of the population trusts online reviews as much as their own friends and family, and 83% of customers don't trust advertising, you really have to start to think about, and you talked about this years ago when I brought up Google reviews. The
Right.
very first step is providing an amazing, exceptional customer experience.
Yeah.
Customer service and customer experience. Don't ask for a review if you didn't do something exceptional, right?
That might be the solution to why everyone doesn't trust that advertising too. Provide an amazing product or service before you market it to anybody.
Yep,
Because then
absolutely.
that would be the reason why no one trusts the advertising is because you're telling them you have this incredible solution and then they go purchase it and it is not as advertised.
50% of shoppers shop more on their phones than they do in store.
Okay.
Users reading reviews on their mobile devices are 127% more likely to purchase than people reading them on their computer. That makes sense because you're probably in the store or near the store on your mobile device. Plus, everyone uses their phone. 62% of shoppers buy online at least once a month. 57% of shoppers buy fashion or apparel online, making this the most online shopped category. However, no category is safe. Almost everything can be sold online now.
Apparel, that's the highest?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was reading about how they're using augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and haptography in order to have online shoppers try things on, so they can actually like feel how things would feel.
Okay.
Now that's like taking it to the extreme. I feel like very, very wealthy people maybe have this technology right now.
I think
But
we're a
it's
ways away
definitely
from
not-
that
yeah.
being relevant. Yeah.
But it's there. It's not in every household, but it's there. The predictions are that our phones will basically become the only thing that we need to buy, have delivered, and enjoy almost anything in the world.
Right.
And Doug Stevens predicts that, well, he says this is already happening, but commoditized products like milk, laundry detergent, other consumables, they'll have built-in sensors
Yeah.
that will reorder once you're like almost out of it.
Sure.
You don't look scared.
That's
96% of customers say customer service is imperative in their loyalty to a brand.
Okay.
So 96%. And 96% of consumers say customer service is imperative in their loyalty to a brand. If you think about that just for yourself as a customer, of course you're not going to go back somewhere if you get treated badly when
Right.
you could buy it online for cheaper.
When there's another option.
In most cases,
Yes.
yeah. 84% of companies who work on their customer service report an increase in sales. This is my favorite one. Brands with superior customer service ratings bring in 5.7 times more revenue than brands who lag behind.
Okay.
Almost 6 times more revenue. A couple more cool things. Drones, that even like refrigerated compartment drones, are already delivering things within hours. In some
Okay.
cases, within minutes. And predictive software, I don't know if I'm saying that right, if the right word is software, but basically companies like Amazon and Alibaba are knowing before we order what we're going to order and having it stored at a location very close to us so that
Okay.
they can send it to us very fast.
Predictive inventory even.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So then, all of that being said, if you have a retail store and you're paying for your building mortgage or your lease, you're paying staff salaries, you're paying for the internet, you're paying for all those things, all the overhead that some of these places who just drop ship the same items don't have to pay for, this can sound pretty scary. But people are absolutely craving that good customer experience, that level of customer service that you don't see in many places nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of businesses are ending up with, well, challenges for sure, but a lot of businesses are ending up failing because they try to cheap out on labor.
Right.
How many people have you heard, well, not now so much, but when it first came out, complaining about minimum wage going up?
Right.
You should not be paying your employees anywhere
Right.
near
Shouldn't be a problem.
minimum
Right.
wage. But cheaping out on labor, like if you hire, I was talking with this one business owner and they were very frustrated with the quality of applicant or the quality of employee. And I mean, there's a whole host of problems, but one of them is when you pay minimum wage, that comes with a certain set of demographics, psychographics. And if you have staff who are paid at minimum wage, have those psychographics and demographics, they're probably not the happiest, most positive, most service-oriented kind of people.
Yeah.
You can get lucky, but in general, they're not. So when you're trying to save money on your staff, you're absolutely failing at the customer experience, so you're losing that business. So the answer is, now more than ever, use your customer service and your customer experience as a competitive advantage. Like, make it so good that no one can beat you at it.
Okay.
Still nothing to add. I can keep going.
No, I think it, like, what it does is it really opens up people's options. Whereas before, so we're in a small city where it was easy to be competitive without being that great because your options were limited just geographically.
Yeah.
And as soon as you add the internet and we become this global village and everything that enables, you are competing with a far more than what's available locally. And that's where in our small city, small businesses are now having to compete at a level that they've never had to before, where it was like, well, I can provide this product because I'm the only one in my neighborhood, and that's enough of a competitive advantage that it doesn't matter that my service is crappy, my inventory is limited, my marketing is non-existent, my, like, all of that didn't matter because
They shut off their reviews.
It doesn't matter. I was within a 5-minute drive of all of my customers, and I was the only one that was. So it's not that like the technology, the only thing it changed was that it made local brick and mortar business compete with people outside of their geographic limitations, and now you have to find a way to compete at that level, and a lot of small business owners are not prepared to suddenly be this I don't know, putting this much effort into their business. Like, it was just not as hard. And so it's not that there is an opportunity there. I think anytime you can list all of these, here's all these new challenges, means there's also a list of all the new opportunities, because you can be the one that figures out how to overcome that, right? We've said that before. But yeah, I don't see a lot of what you're listing as far as what these online companies can do well. There's a lot of gaps there that are still important to the consumer. Like you said, the customer experience and service. There's a lot of blue ocean there where online companies, like, so far, there is no type of technology that is going to give that same experience of having a face-to-face conversation with someone who remembers you from last week and cares about what you're doing, especially in our small city. Like, any large store we go into, it's likely that we'll run into someone we know and just have a conversation. Like, that's not being duplicated by or replicated by online stores. They're providing more selection, sometimes a better price, and more convenience, but they're not competing on much of the other things, many of the other things that are very important in consumer decisions. They still all count for a lot. So like you said, well, I don't think you look very scared about this. I'm not, I guess. I don't know. I don't feel. I also don't own a retail store, so it's hard for me to speak to it when there is people who I know have done business very well and have put in every effort to compete against online stores and ran amazing local experience-based, truly built community, amazing brand, and still went out of business. So it's not
a retail store.
Yeah, so it's not fair for
What do
me.
they sell?
Well, so the example of the one that we were talking about in our Facebook group was a guy who sold comic books and games and collectible figures, and there is a very big market for that. I mean, I am not in that. I don't know what's the right word, geek or nerd. I don't know what it is. They're different things, right? But I'm not in that. I'm not in that culture. But for those who are, I think we're probably in like the golden age of geeks and nerds being celebrated, right? Like,
people who like comic books, maybe you could just call them that.
No, geek and nerd, these are embraced terms. These are not.
Okay.
These are not.
Like Big
no
Bang
one's being
Theory.
offended. No.
I love Big Bang Theory.
Geeks and nerds are celebrated terms. So we are in like the golden age of those. For those people, there is a market to serve them more than there ever has been. So it's not that it's like, well, no one's buying comic books anymore. No one's buying games. Like, he is in a market that is in the golden age of should be thriving. And so
I think I know quite a few people who, now I understand who we were talking about, but I know quite a few people who are just heartbroken.
Absolutely.
And they love to hang out there.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was amazing.
So much community,
it's an interesting
customer experience, like, just absolutely, I think, killed it on every front you could have. Built-in monthly recurring revenue with subscriptions, because it's comic books, people want the newest issue, so he built that in, made it very convenient. Like, I think did everything he could. I mean, I don't know everything about his business, but everything in the conversations we've had and what I witnessed, I think did everything right, did everything you should do to compete, and still wasn't able to. So I say, well, I don't think I'm that scared, but I don't run retail, and I know people that I trust actually really, really did everything right and still weren't able to compete. So it's not fair for me to say, because I don't have that firsthand experience.
So then, I mean, I wish he could be here, and I'm sure he's probably the only person who really knows we're talking about him. But is there nothing, like, was it price? Online was able to be way more cheap, like way more cost friendly, like?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not one of his customers. I mean, I have shopped there before, but I'm not like one of his ideal type of customers. So I don't imagine he was any more expensive. Like, he would have been competitive. But I'm not sure exactly what it was. It's probably just such a low margin product that by the time you add the inventory and the overheads and everything else, that it's just hard to sell enough volume in a small city to
Yeah.
make it float. That's it, because it would be a small, pretty low margin kind of business.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you have a lower margin industry, you have to sell a high volume product. So then
Yeah.
you have to look at your market. If there's 100,000 people in the area that are going to shop there, what percentage of those people typically buy that kind of product? And if 25% of people are buying online, then let's take that down to 75%. And then how many competitors were there? Only one I know of.
There's one, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to know what kind of factors went into that. I think maybe partially the downtown situation too.
He's a pretty big advocate for downtown still being like a pretty popular destination. I definitely haven't seen foot traffic decrease downtown, so I haven't seen that at all. It's pretty hard to find a parking spot near his shop, so it seems like it's no problem getting people to the downtown. But I think, yeah, if you had a business that was it could survive, it could be profitable when you had one competitor and your market was this large and you split it 50-50 with that competitor, and now you're splitting it 50, or you're splitting it instead of 50-50, you're now more like 30%, and then 40% going online or something. I mean, that's if you go to 50% market share to 30% because online moves in. These are all completely fabricated numbers, but if you imagine losing that amount of market share to online in a business where you already needed so much market share, I think, that's going to be a tough thing to survive.
Yeah, so I think one thing, and let's draw a line and say we're no longer talking about that one example. Because I want to talk in generalities, and I definitely don't want anyone to think that I'm specifically talking about this one business. Because I have never met with that person, don't know the inner workings of it.
Yeah.
But the fact is, even Amazon has been over the past few years opening up bookstores, convenience stores, restaurants. So in-person retail is not going away. There are a large number of people who still want to do that, who still want to experience that, who still want to, go to a coffee shop and have coffee, not have a Skype date. What? Skype? Who uses Skype? Google Hangouts.
I used Skype this morning.
Sorry, I mean, whichever you prefer.
But do you know what? So this, as an example of that, so Casper Mattress has launched as like the online order. It comes in a box, rolls out. Like those things, right? Where they're like, you don't go to the mattress store, which are just that like stereotypical, the cheesy salesman. We're gonna sell you a mattress, like sales. Yeah, it's sort of just that awful retail environment that online was just. Like, it's not like online came in and undercut them. Like, they literally removed a bad customer experience and now made it positive. So,
the one time we went to buy a bed, this lady said, "Please buy this. I need to feed my kids." That was like the last time I went to a furniture store. I'm like,
not
Tim,
doing that.
You can go buy the stuff from the furniture stores.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So they have a showroom. We were kind of hearing about this at the conference I was at recently, and they're talking about how places like that have built a showroom now, and now they have a storefront, but they're not. And she was kind of addressing this. People are saying, like, look, obviously retail is still needed because people are going against the grain, doing this online business, and then realizing, like, oh, actually, we're trying to, be better, like evolve beyond retail, and now you're going back to retail. So obviously there's a need, but the argument was that's actually not why they do it. They're doing it because that retail store is basically a branding exercise. It is a complete loss. They are not making money off of that retail store. It's a branding exercise, and it's actually a marketing expense, not a revenue generator. And so I don't know that we can say that, well, look, Amazon and everyone's opening these retail stores. I don't think those retail stores are expected to drive revenue the way that regular brick and mortar
indirectly,
is.
Though.
Yes,
like I think
absolutely.
They're there strictly for the experience, because people want to experience. Like, there are so many people that would never buy a bed online because they want to go touch it, they want to go lay on it, that sort of thing, right? But also, like, the one business that I own, there's a lot of service involved in it. Like, you can't just buy a pair of shoes if you have foot problems or back problems or like podorthic needs or orthotic needs, that sort of stuff. So that's a big part of the business. But if we were just a shoe store,
right,
I would
like
be
an Aldo
a little
or something.
more scared, but I would not. I would be more sort of up to the challenge, because I think the whole thing is really about creating a place that people want to hang out at. A place where, you know what, if they're hanging out, they're having a coffee. Like, we had some really cool ideas that we're going to implement at our store, like a turf track where kids test out athletic shoes.
Okay.
We have like gait analysis where he can literally see like which toe is touching at the wrong time and how you need to correct that. We have digital scanners to talk about what kind of shoes you need, what kind of insoles will make you. All my friends who have back pain, gone because of these really cool technologies, right? Then there's like the heat forming. You can get boots that are like heat formed exactly to your feet.
So it's all this added value stuff that's not, we don't just
costs
sell
a
you
lot.
shoes.
Yeah.
It's, we're sell you shoes and we're going to
It's an
provide you with this and
experience.
this and this and this
Yeah.
that comes with it that you can't get online.
No, like if you buy Nikes on sale online, oh my gosh, that's different than, going to Shoe Solutions, getting fitted, making sure that there's no pain, having our experts, like highly educated experts, look at what you need to have. Are we having technical
No,
troubles
we're
here?
good. I'm just checking your
No.
your audio levels are a little low, but
Low?
yeah, if you
I feel
wanted
like I'm
to bring it
usually
in.
very loud. I
No,
don't wanna
you're
move it
good.
anymore. Am I still in the camera?
You're good.
Okay. But there was who was it? Who is that eyeglass company? It's like 2 words. Sounds like 2 last names.
I
Parker,
don't know.
Parker Warbley,
Right, something like
Parker.
that.
Anyways, they started as just an online store,
Mm-hmm.
and their founder was saying that people were calling, emailing, sending messages and saying like, we want to come into your store and try stuff on, and he's like, shoot,
I
it's
don't
out of my
have a
apartment.
store, right?
Yeah, I don't have a store. So a lot of online businesses who started as just online actually opening in-person stores. Like, I don't think that all sales are going to be, think of it, it pops up on your phone and it shows up on your doorstep.
No.
And one of the big things I really liked about that re-engineering retail book was he's talking about how everything is so predictive now, like our Amazon accounts or like Facebook, retargeting ads, things like that. Even Costco sending out a mailer. If you buy a set of patio furniture, you get a mailer every year for new patio furniture. But why wouldn't they send you something for like a barbecue if you already bought the patio furniture? So what's happening right now is really the predictive thing is kind of keeping us small. It's keeping us the same. It's not giving us a chance to pick out new stuff.
Okay.
So that part is missing, and that's something that Doug Stevens thinks can be done in person in a retail store.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to be reduced to that, I guess. Like, I think of like cows being, funneled through the fences into the place they want people to go. People don't want to be controlled like that.
Right.
And I think I've been really guilty of this in the past, talking about measuring retail per square foot, retail per employee, or profit per employee, profit per square foot, profit per category. But as you said, having those centers or having those, I would call them an experience center, set up, those are like, they're not set up to make money. They're set up to provide really great experiences, which turns into sales. And often those sales will be online. Like at our place, I picture a lot of people like, we're even going to get arcade games and really wicked couches and espresso machines. And like, people will want to hang out there. They can buy stuff on their phone while they're sitting on a couch rather than picking it out, paying at the cash register.
Okay.
That's my vision.
Okay.
So if you're scared and you have a retail store and you're thinking, oh dear goodness, what am I going to do? I would just say, I'm not saying throw out your other KPIs because I love KPIs, but really, really, really start to measure the customer experience scores.
Yeah.
You have to survey people. You have to ask them how their experience was. You have to look at your retention. Are people coming back? If not, most people, I think it's over 80% of people who don't return is because of a perceived indifference between them and the employee.
Right.
And if that employee's in a bad mood, or that employee doesn't like their wage, or that employee just happened to be on their phone when a customer walked in, that's your store.
Yeah.
People get that impression of your whole store.
Yeah, if you want to see word of mouth, how powerful it is, it's going to be based around negative experiences in your store. That is going to take it further than anything. We had one recently where it was, it's just a dollar store down the street, but it's the dollar store, and they basically went on a rant about, they like yelled at some people in the store because they just guessed by their race and how they were dressed that they were stealing, and then just went on a rant about the addicts nearby, and just went crazy about it.
This was an online review?
No, this was like the business owner in his store, yelling for all the store to hear. So if you want to see how well word of mouth works, just provide an experience like that and see how many people will know about it that were not in the store to experience it firsthand. People will know.
So I had all this stuff about don't cheap out on hiring, hire the best people,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. But I didn't even think about don't be a terrible
Don't be
leader.
don't be a
Don't be
bad
the
owner
worst
yourself.
employee you have. I also think you should make it really easy for people to buy from their phones. Really easy. So
For
not
a
only-
retail, for a brick and mortar retail
Yeah.
store, why?
because people, 127% of people are buying on their phones.
But are you going to make it better than Amazon can make it? Like, this is the opposite of Blue Water. You're like, they do it amazing. Let's try and do it as well as they do. Why try to do
Definitely
something
not
they
try
can
to do it as well as they do, because we're not going to try for the selection. We're not going to try for predictive ordering.
Yeah.
None of that. Just if people want to buy our stuff, like for example, in our store, Lightspeed is the point of sale
Yep.
software.
Familiar.
It integrates perfectly with an online store,
Yep.
so we keep our inventory accurate. People can buy from there. Like if
Are
somebody
people buying from there? Or you don't have it
it's not,
set up?
It's not set
Yeah,
up
okay.
yet, but it's definitely in the plans. Just because if somebody is thinking about us, wants to buy something, and they're at the mall, and they could buy from us or they could buy from Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
we want them to be able to buy from us. We're definitely not going into it to compete with Amazon. We're going into it to provide like a convenient way for our customers to buy if they want to buy from us.
I can see, like, if you have unlimited operational and marketing budgets to be like, let's do all of these things really well, but knowing how much I know it would cost to put into resources to make that work, I could think of 20 different ways that are a way better way to spend that money.
Tell me.
I think, well, so we're looking at this for one of our clients yesterday where we were saying, like, should we put more of their products online? Currently, it's just an overview of what kinds of things they carry. These are the manufacturers that they carry, and just general, when you come in, this is what you'll find of ours. So we're saying, should we actually show the product? So I guess easier if I say what it is. So the landscape supply company, do we show we carry this paving stone, this paving stone, this paving stone? So you got like 40 different options of different colors and shapes. We carry all these different types of soils and rock and natural stone and lighting and water features and all. Like, do we put all of that online, or is it fine the way it currently is, where it's a page that says, here's all the water feature types of things that we supply. We have pumps, we have bubblers, we have whatever, and we're paving stone. We have this type of paving stone and this type, but not each color in each block. One of their competitors in town has partially gone into the realm of showing the actual product. So they haven't got into paving stone because there's, they probably carry like 80 different types and they don't want to put that inventory online, but they do have, we have plant, like gardening soil and lawn soil, and we have just filler, and we have mulch, and we have like just, 20 different products. So they put it online, but just to the point of, here's all the information you need and a price, but you don't actually purchase it online. And that makes more sense to me, because especially in that industry, like, it's not being delivered or shipped.
Yeah.
But even with shoes, you're in town, it's easier for you to go down the street and pick it up than it is to wait 2 days for it to arrive.
Which
so
is why I'm not so scared.
I wouldn't.
Most people want to try on shoes.
I wouldn't put the actual checkout and cart. You can show what you have and what it costs and what it's, choose this one if you need this, and choose this one for this, and help them shop, as in help them do their own customer guided research
before they drive all the way down there.
But not to actually purchase. As a consumer, I can't imagine a scenario where I would say, I know the store is 3 blocks away and I've never had this delivered to me in my shopping life, but I want to this time. The argument against it is like pizza and stuff like that, where it is right there and you have it delivered. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would
don't
say
see
landscaping. I agree with you. Landscaping supply with all the different things. I can't imagine that being.
But it
when
would
you look
be
at the cost benefit.
It would be good to add all the information as far as price. Like, people especially want to know cost, and they would like to research it on their own before they're in front of a salesperson discussing price. They don't.
Yes.
That's not a situation people enjoy being in.
Yes.
But I can't imagine, as far as at least where the biggest opportunities are, I can't see putting the conversion on there. Like the local, there's a vitamin and supplement store locally that we've done some work for. New switched off of a franchise, now their own brand, new POS, new connection to Shopify, have every product and live inventory online. And I just don't
I can't see a store like that
see
beating
why.
an online store.
Yeah, exactly. So if
Like,
you're going
at
to buy
all.
online, why buy from them? Why wouldn't you
Yeah.
buy where there's more selection,
Yeah.
probably better
Cheaper.
price? So,
Yeah. So the only exception is if you want it right now. But with shoes, you're right. They want to try them on. The main thing we were thinking of is like reordering. So there's a lot of people that actually buy the same pair of shoes every year. Like they just love them. So they want
Okay.
the newest model or whatever, things like that.
okay.
And it's not just shoes. There's other things like accessories and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it won't cost us a whole lot. It's just a little integration. I want our inventory accurate anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So would I go out and spend $10,000 on a new website so that people could shop online? No. But
Yeah.
since it's not a huge leap, I want to be able to have that if they want it.
Okay.
Because a lot of our customers are so loyal. They love the people there. They love the way they get treated. I think the way people get treated is the most important thing.
Right.
And so if they want to buy something, at 2 a.m. when we're not open, we want them to have that option to buy from us. Not
And then
from,
it's delivered.
yeah, we're working on that. I'm
So
thinking,
then, if they're shopping because they enjoy the experience, aren't you removing all of that experience?
most people will be shopping because they enjoy the experience.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to make sure that we take care of both preferences.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely focusing on the experience.
Yeah.
What else did I
Yeah,
want to
it's
say?
tough. Like, in almost all cases, whenever it's like, we always have to think of how consumer behavior already exists,
Yeah,
and what we need to provide them just helps them do what they want to do more naturally.
yeah. Don't try
right?
to like corral them. In a
Exactly.
different
Don't be
direction.
like, no, we want you to shop this way.
Yeah,
And I've never searched a local brick and mortar store to place an online order in my life, I would say, other than food.
I absolutely don't think that's the way that it will go.
Yeah.
I think that it will be loyal customers or people who have already purchased from us who want to shop online this time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I can't stress enough that I would not go to bat against Amazon.
No.
I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, I have this really great idea, and I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because they're bigger, they have more money, they have deeper pockets, like they'll do it better.
Yeah.
That's sort of an afterthought. It's like just being able to do that for the people that want to do it, but really what I wanted to stress was making the experience amazing.
Yeah.
Making them talk about it. Like, we should talk about talk triggers.
Sure.
Why don't you talk about that? Because I've been talking
Okay.
the whole time. But this is all about the experience, right?
Yeah. Talk Triggers by Jay Bear, about how to create word of mouth for a business, right? So one of the early things he mentions in the book, which really hit home for me and was just reinforced, like, oh yeah, I definitely need to read this book, was, 100% of businesses will tell you that word of mouth is important to their business. Like, no one disagrees. Everyone knows. Yeah, of course. Like, word of mouth is the most powerful thing. That's how I get so many of my customers or clients.
The best ones,
And then
too.
what percentage of those businesses actually have a plan of how to generate word of mouth? And it's very minuscule, like 5% maybe. Like, who has an actual strategy to be
I
like,
think it was 12,
this is
very
how
low.
I make word of mouth? People are just like, well, it's just something that has to happen organically. There's nothing we can do. We just like hope it happens and provide a good service and product, and then we'll get word of mouth. But beyond that, it's just like, well, it's something that's outside of marketing. It's just something that happens, kind of thing. But this book really, really argues, no, you make word of mouth happen. It is a marketing activity. You actively pursue word of mouth marketing. And so here's a bunch of examples of people who are doing it great. Here's sort of a rubric for different types of word of mouth talk triggers, called that because it's like, here's this thing you do that triggers people to go and talk about you. And then near the end of the book, which he said you haven't got to yet, but I think is what makes this book so great that so many marketing books miss, where they're just talking theoretical and like, this is why you should, and here's examples of people who have. He ends with, okay, here's the, I think, 5 or 6 step plan of how you actually develop the talk trigger, how you figure out what's right for your business and your industry, how to roll it out, how to develop it in a way that's actually going to work for you. So that part is amazing too. But everything through the book is also giving lots of examples about talk triggers. We're giving him word of mouth marketing right now. It is a talk trigger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of genius in it. So examples of something you could do. One was the amusement park, right? So the amusement park just decided that they were going to give away all of the drinks for free.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right? Like a hugely high margin thing. All restaurants and fast food and amusement park and whoever else, like they make a lot of money off of your Coca-Cola and root beer refills. So they just said, well, it's hot. People want to feel refreshed. Let's just give them drinks for free. And yeah, lost a huge revenue generator for their company because you would have made so much money off of selling soft drinks. But just in the increased customer experience and that people are all like, they're never thirsty. They're never, oh, well, let's just buy a large and share it with our family. Like everyone got what they wanted. Everyone is feeling refreshed. So people would stay longer. How they would rate the park and their experience of it was so much higher, like everything about it. And then they would people would go from there and tell everyone about it. They're like, yeah, you go there and you can get free drinks all you want.
The part I loved the best about that story was how, like, I don't know if they specifically said a single dad, but how a parent who couldn't really afford to buy all their kids, like, drink whatever you want sort of thing, can now say, have whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And they had made it smaller cups, so there's no waste too. So you're not like drinking half of a large one and throwing it in the garbage. So they have smaller cups because when you want more, you just go around to the stand around the corner and grab a fresh one. But what will actually happen is people just drink that small one and realize they're fine and not get more. Like it made so much sense, and it's actually, so it is a loss of revenue, but there's no like very little cost to it. Like that's why there's such huge markup on it. Is it doesn't cost them a lot to provide those drinks, other than lost opportunity. And yeah, the net gain was much larger. The other one I really liked was, I think it was a burger place where
playing cards.
Yeah. So you would take a playing card to be like your table number, and then they'd bring out your burger and fries because you would have the 6 of diamonds or whatever it was. But then they just decided that, okay, you have this 52 card deck. There's I guess if you have the jokers in it, there's 54 cards in a deck. And so they just spread out the cards, and you take your table number face down so you don't know what you're getting. And they just told everyone that if you pull a joker, your meal is free. And so, like, especially you introduce some sort of like gambling, you're going to definitely get rewards if you use that strategy. But yeah, you're going to have people just draw a table number, and it's fun either way. I mean, this is why like scratch tickets work. It's not, everyone knows that you're like, in the long run, you're not going to make money, but the experience.
Do they know?
I think a lot of people know that you're not going to come out a winner in the long run.
I think in the old days too, it's like you would tell your village, but now it's like, you tell everyone who reads the Google review, or you tell everyone who reads your tweet.
But that experience of that moment of hope that you might win something is, it's even fun. If you don't win, that's why people buy scratchies. You buy a scratchie because for $5 you can imagine the possibility of winning $30,000, and it's that like anticipation that you're paying for. I think scratch tickets are a net win. You lost $5, but you gained something that I would spend $5 for an experience. Not often, but once in a while I was like, this was fun. That was addicts. A good $5. I got my start in the gambling poker industry, so maybe I will justify this more than others. But I think there is a non-monetary gain in those types of things, but especially what they tapped into.
Like, I think it always is long-term monetary.
No, yeah, I mean specifically like scratch tickets. For them, 100% for a burger place to give away 1 or 2 meals out of every 54, it is absolutely going to be a net gain.
Yeah, and then, I think we can talk about the customer experience and the customer service till we're blue in the face, but unless you're really collecting data on it, you don't really know how they feel. And I always butcher quotes, so I won't even try, but there's an old Maya Angelou quote about people remembering the way you made them feel, right? And unless you're asking them, unless you're doing surveys, unless you're finding out how customers feel, I mean, looking at what percentage of your customers come back regularly, I would say is a fairly good indicator that they feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, you could be one of only a couple places. You could be just down the block, those could be customers that are loyal until something better comes along. But you really have to find a way to make your customers feel important, feel happy, feel satisfied. A way that online shopping can't.
I feel like that's worth repeating, that people remember how they feel, not the actual thing they experienced, right? And in that case, it's not talking about business. It's just talking about just being a good person. They don't remember what you wore. They don't remember even the words you said. They just remember the feeling they got after they engaged with you. They're like, oh, that was neutral, or that brought me a lot of joy, or I got anxiety talking to them, or I felt like I was being talked down to, or whatever it is. They're not going to remember the words you said, but they'll remember how you feel. And I think of like even our office, it's designed like the Casper retail store. It's about an experience. It's about building our brand. Like our office is half showroom, half productive workspace. And it's designed in a way that it's actually very inefficiently designed as far as just like the ability to sit down and get work done and maximum amount of people in our square footage, right? It's not made that way. There's a lot of space that never gets used, but is set up like a showroom. People are going to come in, feel a certain way about the space and about us, and leave. And if I was to ask them what they remember, it's not going to be like, they're going to probably have a hard time actually dictating back to me what we had. Like, oh, you had this kind of rug and this kind of chair and you have these colors, and like to actually describe what they saw is not what people remember. What they remember is, oh, it just felt like one of those really cool, like young startup type company offices, like a Google office. Like that's the kind of, it's the sense, not the actual thing they experienced. So you need to give that.
I think that's a big part, like ambience, but like you cannot overlook how your people treat your customers. Like I think there's a lot of cases where staff are on their phones, they're not making a customer feel significant. And if people have a strong need for significance, which, you know, like a third of the population, that's their top human basic need. If they go in there and they need to feel important, and your staff member is like checking their Facebook, probably not Facebook anymore.
TikTok,
yes. You know, that customer's going to feel like they're not important, they weren't treated the way that they should be. And word of mouth now, like, it's not just telling your neighbor, your friend, or your family, it's telling everyone who's following you on social media, or everyone's going to read those Google reviews, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make people feel good.
So is that the big thing? Customer service.
The customer experience. Absolutely.
Okay.
We didn't talk about Sonos yet, but they have this really, they talked about, like, in re-engineering retail, they talked about Sonos as a really good example. They basically removed a lot of their inventory. So instead of having like thousands of stereos available to purchase in their location, they opened up like little soundproof, they look like modern like Friends apartments. That's how they describe them. And you go in there, you can play your own music, hook up your own phone, and experience the speakers and the stereo. Experience it. And then you might have to actually get your stereo shipped to you. Like, they don't have it there for you to take.
Right.
But they're spending all this money on that square footage for people to feel the experience. And it's working like crazy. I was going to say gangbusters.
Like gangbusters. Selling like hotcakes. What else can we say? So, but you think of IKEA doing something like that, right? I mean, they just have a warehouse in the back that you just get your rack number and you go find the thing and put it on a cart. I mean, that for a lot of different types of stores, that's the experience, that warehouse thing, right? Like, that's Costco, and that works in their own way, but IKEA has their warehouse, but then they have all this front stuff to just experience it, because that's important. Like, that doesn't, like, I mean, the products are still in the warehouse. You could just go buy them, but it's all about experiencing them and them providing you with an example of, or several examples of how you could use it, what it might look, how it would feel. Like, I wish this was my living room. Well, here's all the things you need to buy to make it your living room.
And that's the thing that right now artificial intelligence cannot do, but a computer or a website, can't make you feel, well, there's got to be some examples, but a computer, a website, artificial intelligence can't make you feel the way real human connection can make you feel. And I think that a lot of people are missing that, especially since we've gone to more automation and
But overall, as just a general strategy, I think the blue ocean thing is what's so important in this. Is there's a lot of things that online competition can do better than you, and that kind of has to be okay. Like, you can be upset about it, but what are you going to do about it? It's the reality of our market. And so you have to pivot and try doing new things, and that means just diving head first, full on, every resource you can possibly afford to put at it into the things that online can't do. Which is customer experience, which might be convenience location. I mean, don't make people drive half an hour across the city into some far corner of the industrial park. I mean, if we're talking about what online can't do, it can't get you that item in 15 minutes.
That's true.
But
Yet.
that, yeah. But I mean, when we need stuff for our computer tonight, the first place we look is, okay, let's see who locally might has this.
Absolutely.
Getting it in 2 days from Amazon doesn't help me right now, right? So that is still important. There's a lot of things we need to think about that what online can't do, and just go head first into that. But again, I'm just consumer perspective. I don't have the first-hand experience because a lot of people in it right now are just like, it's not that easy. Like, it's not enough. And
I've
that's
run
what
retail locations, and I own retail locations, and I work with retail locations. And you were saying earlier about how, historically retail, or at least lately, retail has such low margins. It's hard for them to afford things. And I think we've talked about this quite a bit lately, I think, not necessarily on the podcast, but when a lot of people are moving this way, they're creating a blue ocean back here that you can go back to. Like when people zig, you zag. So if everybody's going this way, there's some left over here, like a significant amount of people who still want this thing, and I really think that probably, and if we're doing quick tips now, I think we forgot to do what's new, but I mean, really look at your staff. Like, have happy staff who can deliver amazing customer service, and really look at your customer experience. Like, are they happy? Because if they're not coming back, and they might write something bad about you online. Right. But if they are, they are coming back, and they'll bring their friends because they're going to write something good online, right? So you have to double down on that customer experience if you want to make it in retail. Okay. What about, is there some just admitting or allowing for the fact that, okay, some industries are just, there isn't a need that, or enough of a need for you to have brick and mortar anymore. Like there's no customer experience component to it. Like maybe just in that product, like, books is a tough one, right? Amazon's opening bookstores. I love books. You like the
I
actual
love books. Like, I love going into the used bookstore.
Me
I love
too.
going into chapters. I like flipping through things. It's ridiculous because I often don't find the book I'm looking for, and so I end up looking it up online. But it's the experience and the smell of a book. Like, all of that is important. But I think there is, I don't know, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but there is certain things, like especially electronics, when they're really specific, like there's Best Buy and there's electronic stores, but when you're, if you're into videography or the kind of, it's tough to have. We have one camera store in town, right? And I think our city is big enough to continue to support that one camera store. But
Everyone
I say,
loves that place.
yeah, and they do all of what we're talking about extremely, extremely well. They're always actually the example I usually go to when I'm like, this is how you continue to make brick and mortar retail relevant. Like, they really know how to do it. But if you're in a smaller center, or people are just not as interested in buying camera gear anymore, you just have to kind of admit, like, okay, maybe this just happens online now. There's just not enough of a market left to support this in a physical location. And I think
Honestly, I think supplements
is tough.
But vitamins and stuff like that. I think, honestly, I went to Costco, Walmart, and Superstore and Safeway one Sunday because I was really craving those almond butter filled Cliff granola bars. I love them, and they're vegan. So none of them had them. Right. And then I went on my phone on Amazon in the last grocery store that I stopped at, and they had them for cheaper than they used to be at Walmart. Right. So I ordered them, and then it was like, would you like to get a new box of these every month? And I'm like, why, yes, I would. So a lot of stuff like that, where I think suppliers are going to start to cut out grocery stores, or cut out, fresh fruit and stuff. That's going to take a while to figure out. I don't know, though, with those refrigerated drums.
No, all of that, even supplements and vitamins, all of that stuff that's consumable, you need it now. You forgot to pick it up. You need to go get it now. It's not helpful to you that it's 2 days away.
Or that they're closed on Sundays. Yeah. Or that they close at 6.
I think there's definitely some industries out there where there's just not enough of a market left when online takes over so much of your market share. However, if you're talking about like playing cards or something, like if you were, and there is a store, and I don't know if they exist, I don't go into that mall anymore, but there is like a collectible, like you want your baseball cards, hockey cards, that kind of stuff. There's a store in town that sells those, or there was at least. I don't know if they still exist, But it's kind of like maybe that's one where it's going to be really tough to stay relevant when you go online and it's about the rarity of it, so you can't have it in inventory. It's like that stuff is, you kind of just have to be like, sorry, online kind of killed your industry. So
Yeah, I'm sure there's a handful of those,
Yeah.
but I honestly think that most retail businesses can be revived and profitable and successful if they can build in way more of an experience-based model. I really do.
yeah,
Or talk triggers. Like even we were talking about Bloom Diggity with the attitude talk trigger.
right.
Yeah, like yeah, just being different, making people feel a certain way. Yeah, it works. People want to feel good. I mean, at the most basic level of everything we've ever talked about, people want to feel good.
Yeah.
So if your retail business can make them feel good, you will survive.
Yeah.
You can do well. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean just don't make them feel bad. Doesn't mean just like don't have bad
Don't
customer
hurt their
service.
feelings?
Yeah,
No.
It's
That's
not
like
about
a
just
1.
like not having bad customer
No,
service.
we want
It's
a 10
like
out of 10.
it has to be amazing.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy coming home to an Amazon box on my doorstep.
Me too.
So make me feel better than that.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
that's fun. Like,
And that's the thing, and that's why I bought half the store I bought.
right.
The people there, they're so focused on making people feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every day I hear a story that makes me cry. You know, like one of my experiences with Ryan, the other owner, was when my father-in-law was really, really sick. He was in the hospital in Calgary, and for some reason I looked at his feet. Don't ask me why. I don't even like feet. Like I was, but they were very messed up. Like they were purple, cracked, bleeding, swollen. I was like, what is happening to his feet? None of the nurses or doctors had checked his feet because he was having heart problems, but he's diabetic.
Right. Yeah.
Like, not funny, he almost died.
No.
Sorry, I didn't warn you about that one before you left. But anyway, so he's back in Lethbridge, in the Lethbridge Hospital, and I told Ryan about it, and Ryan, for free, absolutely no questions asked, showed up there, like worked with him, asked him questions, like measured him, fitted him, and created these custom shoes for him that helped him. Like, those kind of stories, everybody has those kind of stories about that store.
Yeah.
And so we only hire people who care about people that much. And we train on treating people like that, as opposed to hit your retail goal, hit your profit goal, you know?
Yeah, that's going to build a ton of loyalty, because that's where, so a lot of where local business right now relies on getting their customers is like almost this guilt trip thing about support local that
It's the rule of reciprocity. Oh, no, you're right. No,
right? It's
local,
like,
yep.
it's like, no, support local.
Yeah.
Always buy local, and it's almost just like we're asking our customer base to please support local, rather than giving them a reason to, without, like, basically you're asking them for a favor, like, please support local because we're local businesses too, and we live in this community and we still need our income, and it's almost like you're asking for a favor. But I need to be given a reason, like, and I will support local if you are as good as the online options, but really you can't, it's not a sustainable strategy to just ask people as a favor to please support your local business.
Especially
you
if you treat them
have
like
to
garbage.
give them a reason to prefer local, not just I know they prefer online, but please shop from me anyways, because I think a lot of people are in that spot. I know you'd rather just do this online, but please support my local business, and you have to make your business, like, do the things, try new strategies, the things that you're talking about, and I don't have the expertise to talk about, but that you're suggesting, to say I can help my customers prefer to buy local, not just please do it out of guilt.
And read the book Who Moved My Cheese.
Okay.
Have you read that?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's such a classic. It's like about 2 mice, and there's like this pile of cheese every day. They live in a maze.
Okay.
Obviously, it's like a fable, but it works. It's
Okay.
amazing.
I like
So there's like this pile of
fables.
cheese in this one corner of the maze every morning. So every morning they like get up and they go get their cheese, and then one morning all the cheese is gone. And the one mouse is like, well, better put on my running shoes. I gotta go run and find a new pile of cheese. But the other mouse is like, darn it, I'm owed this cheese.
Right.
This cheese has been here for years. They can't take this away from me. And so that mouse, I don't think he dies. I don't think it's that morbid, but he basically just gives up and never gets any cheese. And the other one finds new cheese, and it's a better pile of cheese. It's like a bigger pile of cheese.
Bigger pile of cheese.
Like, be
it's aged
excited
cheddar.
about change. Like you said at the very beginning, Don't see it as problems, see it as opportunities. Because
Yeah.
if all your competitors see it as a problem, that's awesome.
Oh, amazing opportunity
Let them
for
give
you.
up. Let
Yeah.
them go out of business while you capitalize on that opportunity. And you're right about that local thing. Don't use that. Don't use that as your only. I can picture
Yeah.
a business right now that opened on 3rd Ave, probably one of the busiest street traffic
Yep.
locations in our city, and it closed in like a month.
Oh,
And
wow.
they like guilt, local. How could you not support us? We're going out of business, blah blah blah. And I'm just like thinking back, that was their only thing.
Right.
You can't differentiate on that anymore.
No.
You can have it as a thing. It can be part of who you
Sure.
are, but you have to differentiate on customer service if you're in an industry that online is beating you at, like in price and speed.
Yeah.
And options.
When it's equal, like I'm just as likely to shop there as I am to buy online, then local will be the tipping thing that's like, yeah, okay, I'll go buy there. And maybe even if it's like you're slightly less convenient, it might be enough to tip me over and be like, yes, I will buy local. But if you're not providing something even close to what people can do online,
For a
whether it's
great
price or
experience.
convenience or experience or any, like you don't provide anything greater than online, local's not just, please support local's just not going to push you into a sustainable position.
But also do your research, because I know I've read a lot of research where people say it's like a much higher percentage where people say, yes, I shop local, yes, I shop sustainable, yes, I shop eco-friendly, but the truth is a lot lower percentage actually buy that way. So if you do your research and you can see that, being local is a very huge part of why people shop with you, okay, talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's all about really getting to know your customer and what makes them feel good and making them feel good.
Yeah.
Doing the only thing that online can't do is the customer experience. At least not yet. Until we get to that really weird place where people have like
I think there's
AIs.
other things that still can't do. I think we're a long ways away from the drone dropping my milk off faster than I can go get it from Superstore.
Yeah, at least 10 years. Who knows,
I
though?
think we're a long
The way
ways.
that technology is like doubling, right?
Yeah.
Think of all the changes we've seen in our life.
Oh yeah, things
still
move
remember
quickly.
The
It's
noisy
exponential.
internet, the dial-up.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And tapes. I remember trying to tape the top 8 at 8 and being mad when the
Yep.
announcer talked during the song. I
Definitely.
was like, oh, they ruined my perfect song. Now, unlimited music, $10 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that this particular episode may have pushed some buttons or made some people feel almost hopeless, but that was not the intent. The intent was to give you some tools to help you not feel hopeless if you're a retail store. So please reach out to us. Like Lane is a creative genius, and I'm pretty good at business myself. And I didn't want to say that about myself. You could have chimed in though. But we both will have some ideas for you. I mean, if you feel like this podcast kind of left you feeling like not good, reach out because we want to help.
Especially, it'll help us because there's going to be industry specific ideas. Like there's things that you can do in your shoe store compared to the laundromat down the street where online is not really an impact. Or
the brick is like the saddest death of a store I've ever watched. It's like they can't have the inventory, so when you go in there, even if you see something that you like, they don't have, they have to order it anyways. But if you just ordered it yourself online, it'd be cheaper. And the salespeople are just the worst quality of salespeople, and you feel uncomfortable. And like, those furniture stores are dying a very horrible death. But I don't know, you could be the one furniture store that actually didn't make people uncomfortable when they came in there. Yes.
It's funny, like it's so different than what we say when we say furniture store that we forget that it's even in that realm.
Because
you're just like,
so
IKEA is a furniture
so about
store.
the experience.
I love Structube.
Through,
Structube is great.
You walk through the living room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, now I'm trying to think of the brick.
Okay, but we welcome messages because
kind messages.
not your ranting hate.
We've never had hate
No,
mail yet.
I'll take that. Address those to me.
send
I'm
those to
fine
Lane.
with it. If you
He'll sugarcoat it for me.
listen to last week's episode about why I don't care about the haters. So
I'm
just
doing better, by the way.
send all that to me. I'll deal with it.
Hate mail to Lane.
Kelly Ray has a quick tip for us.
Oh, I think it was, okay, instead of just measuring sales, conversion rate, stuff I always tell you to measure customer satisfaction for sure, and measure retention for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Really start to listen to people. Figure out how you're making them feel.
Okay.
Because we want to double down on making them feel good.
Yeah. My quick tip is to really clearly define your USP and UVP. This is like a Kelly Ray kind of tip, but it honestly, it's not. You can't just say, "Well, we did it once, we did it 10 years ago." Like, it is different today.
Yes.
We are redoing ours right now. I spent 3 hours today thinking about what is our USP or UVP, whatever you want to call it, like, and really trying to dial it in, because our business has evolved in how we serve people and who we serve, and just, or at least narrowed in and knowing better who we serve and how we serve them. So we're doing a lot of work in trying to figure out what that is. That needs to be dialed in, because that's exactly how you compete with online. Your USP might have been, well, we have the best selection in this neighborhood, but now all of a sudden you're the best selection, but you have a lot more than your neighborhood to compete with. So now you need a new USP. It's like, like, you need to figure out what it is that is still uniquely valuable about your business that online doesn't change.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure everyone knows that USP is like a unique selling proposition, or UVP is unique value proposition.
Yeah.
And yeah, it can change. And I want to actually put in a good word for the brick and mortar businesses, because that's my 20 years of experience, 19, almost 20, has all been brick and mortar businesses, and they've all done well, and they all continue to do well because there's still room for us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room, 75% still. You know, online has some competitive advantages that a brick and mortar store can't beat, but there are a lot of things that we can do better. And we focus on brick and mortars. We will not work with an online business.
Right.
So my whole coaching business is built on brick and mortar businesses. So I guess I want to end with that. Like, we still believe in you. Like,
oh yeah, they're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. You just have to be.
But there will be some weeding out the people who are not able to.
And that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Let your competitors die a horrible death, because they will not change.
Right.
That sounds a little
not
bit
a horrible
harsh.
death.
No.
Kelly Ray, so morbid.
Yeah, can we erase that part? It's 5. Shoot. Just, if things are changing and all your competitors are like just complaining about it, just do something different.
Right.
Don't just join the pack. Read Who Moved My Cheese. It's so good.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. This is episode 25, The Future of Retail. We'll be back next week, hopefully on time and with
definitely on time.
Better tech, so that we have everything worked out.
Yes.
But we'll be back next week with a new topic.
And maybe some background decor.
Oh, really?
It's very
You're gonna add something?
Well, I was thinking of getting like Business Can Be Better up there.
Ooh, like a logo kind of thing.
I don't know if Mandy takes that though. She's kind of my decor consultant.
You can reach out to me on Twitter, Lane_Anderson, Instagram, The Real Lane Anderson, or look me up on LinkedIn, just Lane Anderson.
I'm changing my Instagram handle to The Real Kelly.
You should, definitely.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Kelly Rates Mackey, or TMH Business Coaching and Consulting.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for listening and watching. We will see you all next week.
See you next week.